MEAC. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won. I hope my team they won. Yeah, man. I hope my team they won. I hope my team they won. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gonna teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Mike Washington is still on assignment. Charles is doing a partial assignment, so we might get him on part of the show. But we do have AD Drew here to join the team. So welcome to episode 813 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast, the show that's covering the sporting HBCU dash for all things HBCU sports for institutions large and small, from the NAIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs in the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, along with my co-host, Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, with AD Drew bringing in and giving us the game plan of the day. We're filming from our home studios and sending a signal live to K-Sway's 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, multi-Hall of Famer that is, Ralph Cooper, in the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. Today's episode of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab is sponsored by THG Agency. THG Agency is a company that provides sporting educational consulting and data analytics. With that being said, let's go ahead and bring in AD Drew. AD. Oh, yeah, I see you. Congratulations. I know what your hot news of the day is, but before we do that, let me ask you, how are you doing today?
Man, I'm doing fine, man. And if I wouldn't have literally just walked into the house and fired this computer up, I might have put on one of my fan view shirts in the closet and blew the dust off of it, because I don't get to wear them too much anymore.
That's true.
With where I work at, and and when we're out doing journalistic stuff, you try to be impartial, so you try not to wear particular colors and everything of your teams. Although everybody know who you're affiliated with, you still try to be neutral and everything. So, but
certainly, well, let's do this.
It is what it is.
Take our first break. We'll send you on a mission to hunt neck closing and pick one out, and you come back on the other side, you'll have it. But before we do that, let's let you go ahead and do a little bit of the strike and talk about why you are striking right now.
Well, the Rattlers strike, and strike again, and I don't mean strike out, because the Rattlers claim their first SWAC Softball Tournament title. After falling short last year in the SWAC Tournament last year, FAMU claimed the title with a dramatic 2-1 walk-off victory over Southern at the Gulfport Sportsplex. FAMU struck first in the opening inning when just watching that again. Great play, and I talked about that play in this moment.
Let's slowly go over to monologue, and then we'll bring in and let you come back and talk about why we're trying to circle it up.
All right. FAMU struck first in the opening inning where NAIA Lee singled and later scored on an RBI triple by Amari Brown to give FAMU a 1-0 advantage. Southern answered in the second inning when Kiera Miracle Tilford scored on an RBI ground out by Ariel Burton to even the score at 1-1. And ladies and gentlemen, that was it to the seventh inning as far as scoring goes. Now the pitchers, what a great pitching duel. Samantha Smith for FAMU, and Aaliyah Zabala for Southern. But when and you just saw RBI after a walk and a HBP, FAMU was able to score the winning run in the bottom of the seventh inning. Quickly,
That was big time. That was big time.
yeah, big time.
Thanks, Woo.
Texas Southern put 2 on the all tournament team. Alabama State put 1. Southern put 4 on the all tournament team. FAMU had 5 on the all tournament team, including tournament MVP Samantha Smith. So yeah, and what I was gonna bring up, Dr. Cavil, and we were going through this in our little chat group, and I said this, wondering if FAMU was going to bunt in that situation with first and second with 1 out there in the 7th inning. And I pointed this out in the chat group. I even pointed this out Sunday on our show. FAMU was having a terrible time laying down a bunt in this tournament for whatever reason.
Great point.
I saw so many pop-ups on bunts, and pop-ups for outs, not popped up and ball wound up going foul. So it was very interesting that Coach Bill had confidence with the pinch hitter, Dr. Cavil, to put in a pinch hitter in that situation and let her swing away, and the result was the 2-1 victory. And great season by Southern. We cannot overlook the season Southern had. Undefeated at home, Dr. Cavil.
Yeah,
great season by Southern. Too bad somebody had to lose, but Carlos, you and Mo Carter, y'all gonna have to wear the L because FAMU got the W.
Yeah, that's very true. Really a great championship game, particularly when you talk about the fact that they came and played, and Southern got the first loss on FAMU that was zooming through the tournament. FAMU bounced back and had a chance to make up that game, which was crucial to them being able to get in the tournament. That's why you go as far as you can undefeated, because you have to lose 2, and really commend them in terms of how they played softball this weekend. Congratulations to FAMU. Now they got historical softball wins in the MEAC and in the SWAC.
Yeah,
not too many teams can say they have multiple conference Division I championships in any sport, but particularly softball. So that's big time when you talk about that.
One other
very
thing,
rich historic program.
One other thing before we move off the tournament and flip over to the MEAC tournament, Dr. Cavil. Shout out to all 8 teams there for having to deal with all the weather delays throughout the week at the tournament, including the first championship game that was started and stopped 3 times. So just a tremendous shout out to the team and to the people who had to make the decisions on whether to play, whether not to play, to push these games back and everything else. It's a lot that goes into it. It's just not as simple as we got a 1 hour window where it's not raining. Let these 2 teams play.
Shout out to the folks that had to work, not only making the calls, but those that physically had to work to make sure the field was prepared, those that had to do the ancillary stuff associated with the conference, as well as the fans that found a way to stick around and see obviously what was a great championship tournament and ultimately a championship race, and culminating with a great championship game. So kudos to all involved. SWAC TV delivered. Speaking of the conference, previous conference home to FAMU was the MEAC. We crowned a softball championship there too, which is Howard. Howard defends their crown and wins the 2026 MEAC softball championship. So to be interesting in our third segment, we will find out between the two who ends up in the number 1 rankings coming in. FAMU had the number 1 ranking. Southern was behind them, and Howard was third. So they would need a significant jump. And in fact, you wonder, did they jump over Southern, even though Southern was that close to winning a championship too? And could they do the unthinkable and actually jump up to the number 1 ranking? The poll goes back and looks at those early matchups. Howard FAMU, that can play a role. but we'll give a little tease as we'll do the mid-major first. But with that being said,
The one thing about the MEAC championship, Dr. Cavil, as great, I won't say great, but as competitive and close as the games were on the SWAC side,
right?
The Howard championship was very anticlimactic because they run ruled everybody in the tournament, Dr. Cavil.
Yeah, good point. I'm glad you did share that, and it's very appropriate. You're right. Anticlimactic is the word that you put out there and shared. Let me give a little love in terms of the Division II programs. Like I said, we'll do their rankings next. Not a lot of changes there, but I want to acknowledge Claflin in terms of Atlantic 1 region at Shippingburg, Pennsylvania, where they first match up against the number 1 seed, Shippingburg, who's 38-16, while Claflin comes in at 30-11. This was shared to us by AD. So I wanted to make sure we shared that information as well. So that was big time news when you talk about those rankings. Also, you have Edward Waters baseball program, Division II. They are the number 8 seed. They face number 1 West Florida. Edward Waters comes in at 33-19, while West Florida comes in at 39-13. So that's what's going on there in terms of that alignment. You pointed out, and I thought it was rightfully so, Spring Hill last year within the SIEC, but they're a SIEC member. While they're not a HBCU, they did get a bid to the tournament. They play in South 1 region at St. Leo, Florida. They play the number 1 seed, which is St. Leo, who's 44-3-1. Had one tie. Then we didn't do tie in softball. Somehow they got a tie. Sure, Lightning took care of that event. And Spring Hill in that number 4 seed comes in at 32-23. Obviously, the CIAA doesn't have baseball, but they did crown their champion in terms of that matchup. So shout out to who won the championship over there. It wasn't Lincoln.
Virginia State.
State. They are West Virginia. What's the other one in West Virginia?
Bluefield State.
Yeah.
Just want to make a quick correction, Steve. Edward Waters does not have multiple NCAA appearances in baseball. They have multiple SIAC championships. But Steve, if you remember, when they won the first championship, they were in transition. And Savannah State was actually the SIAC representative. I believe that was 2 years ago, in 24, when they were in the last year of their transition. So this is their first trip to the NCAAs there, Steve.
They do have a Black College World Series, the short-lived event. Also, rest in peace. We are working to try to revitalize that and even play some naming rights. So I think there were a lot of things about the event that were extremely important. It was unique and it worked for baseball, unlike basketball in both the CIAA and SIAC. You often get 2 or multiple bids, particularly the CIAA men's and women's. You didn't get that. Claflin won the CIAA series. Thank you. I was trying to remember who won that. They beat up on Virginia State. That's what I recall. Thank you there. WSS Ram representing for the CIAA. Make sure we get it correct. Wanted to get that information out there to support them. But as I was saying, in terms of that Black College World Series, which featured the mid-major division baseball programs, and they would take essentially 4 of the NCAA Division II programs and 4 of the NAIA programs, or around that number. And they would have the round robins where they played each other. And the championship would feature the NCAA Division II program against the NAIA program. Edward Waters does have a championship there. So that was big time in terms of what they able to get down. That's on their ledger and resume. So that was pretty big in terms of what that looks like. So I did want to share that in terms of the news there. Great news. Let's take our first break. We'll come back on the other side and we'll get into the softball mid-major poll. As I said, there's not really a lot of changes there as we were in the break between them getting into the NCAA NAIA tournament. So we'll see what that looks like when those matchups come up. But we will go with the poll in terms of week 9, and we'll see what AD Drew continues to think of the mid-major poll and see if there's any changes. Some people may have took heed to Drew's concern. Let's see if people reevaluated their votes. With that, we'll be right back on the other side.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisine.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
What up, y'all? This is Dante Horn, starting guard for the Prairie View A&M 25-26 SWAC Basketball Champions. As an MVP and a champion, when I'm not studying, practicing, or hanging with family and friends, I take the time out to catch up on my HBCU highlights by watching Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab.
Horn, pump fake, steps into the two-point jump shot. That is fundamental.
Yeah, you got to stay on your feet on him.
Looking for some space, and he runs it to the end zone. The first score of the game. Teams that were not picked to win their respective conferences.
Prairie View produces productive people. Prairie View, where champions are built. Not like me. PV, you know.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want a law, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Let's get into our poll rankings as we get it done here and talk about these top 5 things. 5 teams, I should say. We'll talk about those receiving votes first and dropping out as we pull that up for the mid-major on the women's softball side. As we're doing that, I did want to make one note. I was pretty excited about this. I think you could respect this as we leave that and hold that right there. Arkansas Pine Bluff was named 2025-2026 SWAC Sports Information Staff of the Year. That's the Arkansas Pine Bluff Athletics Sports Information staff has been named the 2025-2026 SWAC Football Sports Information of the Year. The award was voted on by the league sports information directors. That's really nice when you get it on your peers. Staff is led by Associate Athletic Director for Strategic Communications, Cameo Stokes. Shout out to Cameo Stokes, whose storytelling highlights the journey of UAPB student athletes. UAPB's creative talent features Assistant Sports Information Director and Director of Videography, Keontae Brown, along with a talented group of student assistants, have become one of the conference's most impactful, innovative media teams out there in the market. I want to shout out, again, the Golden Lions staff at University of Arkansas Pine Bluff, named 2025-2026 SWAC Sports Information Staff of the Year. Big time. Kudos to that.
Keyword staff.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Look, man, we got old Charles Bishop decided to join us in the house. Perfect timing as we get into the mid-major. Let's bring it up. Nobody dropped out this week, so let's see who's receiving votes as we get into this week 9 mid-major softball poll rankings. Everwater's Tigers still sit outside of the top 5. As last time we spoke, we told you 26-18, 15-9. Their season is officially over. Stillman Tigers also sit at 25-19 outside the poll ranking. Conference record was 19-2 with 24 points. They are out as their season is officially over. So let's look at the top 5. At number 5, we have Savannah State Tigers sitting at 27-18, 15-9, 35 points as they stay at number 5. Their season is over as well. We have number 4 is the Claflin Tigers, 25-12, 11-1, 37-4. We just told you that they will be playing in the NCAA Division II tournament. So they have a couple of games that they need to play in. At number 3, you have Albany State Golden Rams sit at 34-11, 19-5, 41 points. They were previously ranked 3, so they don't move. Now their season is over as they were not elected in receiving an at-large bid. Bringing us to number 2. At number 2, we have Tuskegee Golden Tigers sit at 34-9, 21-1. 2 first place votes, 60 points, and 1 first place. They were previously ranked number 1. Should be 2. They really stay where they are. Or did it change? No, it changed from last week. They moved down a spot, which Drew said should have happened. They did not make the tournament, so their season is complete. So I'm not sure how they can move back up. We'll see who's number 1, which shouldn't surprise you. Dillard Blue Devils sit at 27-14, 19-2. 5 first place votes, 67 points. Previous ranked 2, so they move up to the number 1 spot. AD, I think, scared some people out there, changed some votes, maybe even snuck one in himself after seeing the damage that was done last week that he thought was so unfair. But with that being said, Dillard does make the tournament, so they get a chance to make further statement that they should be number 1, as well as Claflin. With that being said, what are your thoughts, AD Drew?
Dr. Cavil.
Yes.
Do your people actually read the syllabus? These voters, did they actually read the rules? Just the basic concept of Dr. Cavil's inside the HBCU Huddle Report voting. This is a week-to-week poll. Tuskegee had no week. Albany State had no week. Savannah State had no week. Claflin won the week. Dillard, although they did not have a week, the previous week, they won the week. So why the hell is Claflin number 4? The number 2 and the number 3 team not even playing anymore. But they are ranked ahead of the CIAA champion. Yeah, that record is a little bit more impressive with 30. I know 30 is one of those magical numbers in baseball and softball. I totally get that. But Claflin playing. Tuskegee is not. Albany State is not. I'm just saying, Dr. Cavil, I need y'all to thank you, Steve. Anti-CIAA bias. I think that's what it is with some of the voters in this poll, Dr. Cavil. I just need y'all to just justify it. That's all I'm asking you. Everybody has their vote. They have their reasons for their vote. But I need you to explain your paper, Dr. Cavil. Explain your work. And that's the message that you need to give to the voters from me. Can't argue with Dillard being number one. Although, Dr. Cavil, Dillard was 2 in barbecue in the NAIA tournament. They lost 1-0 yesterday to Southeast
Close one.
Indiana. Yeah. Tough one. And then they lost today by a score of 7-3 to Evangel of Missouri. So they are 2 in barbecue.
2 in barbecue. Yes. We'll see. Great point when you talk about Claflin. Problem is by the time this was run again, they
probably be 2 in barbecue too. But so they got hardware.
It up, but you acknowledge that hardware. They should be higher. I like that. That's good, Tyler.
Yes.
Oh boy, good information. Outside of that, you agree with the poll ranking?
If you put Claflin at 2, I could go with the rest of them and bump everybody else down.
So week to week, if they go out, Dillards go out, what is your projection for next week?
I
win everything.
How would I vote, or what is my projection? That's 2 different questions, Dr. Cavil.
Let's go with your vote first. How would you vote?
I'm still, depending on what Claflin does, if Claflin picks up a win in the NC2A tournament, I could justify bumping Claflin to number 1 with Dillard going 2 in barbecue in the national level. Wow. Outside of that, if both of them are 2 in barbecue, I go Dillard 1, Claflin 2, and then Tuskegee, Albany, Savannah State.
So
because hardware matters to me.
On
hardware
moving to the next tournament.
Yeah.
Like each level, preseason is one thing, you weigh that. Regular season is another level. But then you do it in a tournament, that's another level. And the fact that you get to the NCAA tournament for you or NAIA tournament for you is a statement in itself. And you don't necessarily punish teams based on how they played in that tournament.
No, because we know when it comes to national level, we get crapped on. We're always going to get the toughest game. I just witnessed it back in March with Morehouse. And what happens with us? We're the number 8 seed in our region against the number 1 team in the nation. We know we're going to get crapped on, especially in certain regions that are traditionally tough regions anyway. So I don't hold that against you. And one other thing about the postseason, Dr. Cavil, if you don't win your conference tournament, but you get in at large, I'm going to factor that in also. Unfortunately, nobody in this poll received in at large. They got in through the auto bid. But yeah, those are the things that I'm going to factor because, championships matter, Dr. Cavil. Nobody remembers who comes in second place.
I like that. I mean, I think you make some valid points. So now let's get to the tougher question. What is your projection of how you think poll people will vote, 7 of them, based on what you've seen this year or in general how people tend to vote this time of the year? What are your thoughts?
I think they're going to put Tuskegee back at the top after with Dillard going 2 in barbecue unless Claflin makes a run.
Yeah, that's a good point. That'll be interesting to see. I want to see what the voters do. With that being said, let's take our second break. We'll come back on the other side. We'll see what took place in the major division. We just finished 2 tournaments, so I'm fascinated to see how that weighed in on the voters. We'll be right back after our next break.
From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
And we have to fund our kids in these colleges, and we have to make sure our kids have seats in these colleges.
And what about HBCUs? You mentioned.
Absolutely. You got to fund them all, and you've got to make sure they're properly funded. You know, the real reason why I went after Comcast and Charter, it didn't have anything to do with my cable networks. It didn't. What happened was a gentleman wanted to do the Black College Sports Network in partnership with the HBCUs. And Comcast did not accept it. And that would have made a lot of money for these black colleges.
Absolutely.
And it would have educated the Black College Sports Network. This is what he wanted to do. That would have educated a lot of black kids. And when they didn't do that, that's when I came off the bench and said, okay, I'm going to light you up like a Christmas tree. Okay. That was the real reason why I got into it, was when I saw what happened with the Black College Sports Network, which I don't own. I just knew.
Why didn't you buy it?
I just knew. I just knew that these black.
I like that talk.
All right. I knew that these black colleges were going to benefit, and these black kids were going to get the education that they deserved and not have to pay.
There's a shot. It might be. It could be. Right field. Grand slam. What a shot. That's how you get hot, young fella.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do, and all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
Movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Greetings, Santhus. My name is Roland Austin, and I'm one of the directors at the 1876 Athletic Foundation. The 1876 Athletic Foundation was formed to promote the success of all 343 student athletes. Our overall goal is to fund scholarships for all of our student athletes. We ask that you help us in achieving this goal by donating to the 1876 Athletic Foundation via the QR code below or 1876.foundation. Your generous donation will help us continue to assist the needs of all of our Panther athletes. Thanks, and go Panthers.
Press the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil inside the HBCU Sports Lab. We have Charles Bishop in the building, so you get a chance to weigh in on the major division for the softball. Before we do this, I wanted to give some primetime updates. Chivalry's not dead, so I'll start with the women. Top three standings, 17 of 21 events. 17 of 21 events, Charles and AD, in the SWAC Outdoor Championship. At number 3, you have Southern. They're at 81.5 points. They're projected at this point to get to 94.5. You have FAMU, that's in second at 96.5, but they're projected to get to 144.5, which means that they are projected to win. But currently, number 1 is Alabama State at 113, but they're only projected to get 123. Now, you have 4 more races, so projection is one thing. Getting it done in the race, execution is another. Well, let's look at it on the other side. For the men, 16 of 21 events, sitting in third. The Florida boys have got in the picture, but this is Bethune-Cookman has decided to enter into the track and field races. They have 75.5 points. They are projected to get to 109.5. You have Texas Southern that has done it numerous years. They sit in second, but they only have 95 points. I've heard they did lose a runner. and they're only projected to get the 101. So they would finish behind Bethune-Cookman. But number one now is Jackson State. They're at 114.5. And that's not their projection. They are above everybody else's even projection in the top three. They're projected to get to 150. So they're looking at walking away with this at this point. But again, they have 5 more races. So projection is one thing. Execution is another. And although it looks like even projection that people can't catch them, we'll see what that looks like as we get through the show and see if we can provide you another update and get a little close on what that looks like. But at this point, it is very entertaining in terms of the Outdoor Track and Field Championship, which closes out today. Now let's get back into it and give you these poll rankings of week number 9 for the major division. We do not have a change at the top, I will tell you that, but we do have some other changes in the poll ranking order, so we'll let you know what that looks like. Nobody dropped out, as you saw, and these are receiving votes. Jackson State Tigers still sit at the outside of the top 25. Had a relatively short tournament, which could have affected that. But kudos to Jackson State as they had won back-to-back championships and were in the race to do it again. They finished the season at 25-23, 16-8, 64 points. They did send home the number 1 seed from the West Division in terms of what they did get done in the tournament. Norfolk State Spartans out of the MEAC sit at 22-21, 12-9. Also out of the MEAC is Delaware State Hornets sitting at 28-18 and 15-6. South Carolina State Bulldogs, they made a run of it. They did get to a championship matchup against Howard, but they did not get it done. They finished the season at 23-20, 12-9 with 43 points, sitting outside of the top 5, essentially in the 9 position. So let's get in the top 5. As I told you, no one dropped out, so we know the top 5 teams. Number 5 is Texas Southern Tigers sitting at 30-12, 17-6, 71 points. Previous ranked 5, they probably had their best showing in the tournament in some time. They got deep down in the tournament and won their first couple of games as they were undefeated, setting up a matchup, but kind of closed on a tough note. But kudos to the Tigers making a deep run into the SWAC tournament. At number 4, Prairie View A&M Panthers sit at 27-19, 19-4, 74 and 4 first place. 4 previously. Disappointing in the tournament. 0-2 in barbecue, as they say. 27-19, 19-4. They did get the regular season championship, was 4 in a row. Be interesting to see if people think that's appropriate based on what they did in the tournament or not. Bringing us to number 3. Southern Jaguars, 37-15, 18-6.
Okay.
79 points. They dropped one spot, fought extremely hard in terms of what they got, and was just a couple of players away from a championship, which could have made things interesting. But they had the best team, undefeated at home, but they didn't win the regular season, even though they swept Prairie View at the end of the season to kind of show the indication what they were going to do in the tournament and literally play for a championship in the SWAC. But they end up at 37-15, 18-6. At number 2, Howard Bison, 29-17, 18-3, 4 first place votes. So they had a first place vote. Took a one, I'm sure, from Southern. 84 points, closing the gap on the number 1 team, and they move up a spot. FAMU went into this week number 1, having won the Eastern Division, went through the tournament undefeated until the championship game. They lost the first one, but they did the one that counted the most, the last one. Represented for the East versus West matchup that Brian likes to talk about quite a bit, so I want to give him a shout out. Kelvin as well is always interested in West versus East matchup. It came down to that championship game, and as I said, looking into this, I had I thought that Southern would give a huge fight and probably force a final championship game. And so it was 6-5 getting into that matchup. Southern won, so it was 6-6. So the finishing tally was 7 wins by the East, 6 wins by the West, and FAMU closed it out in fine stashing as they are the number 1 ranked team. Week number 9, 32-20, 19-5. 6th first place vote, 86 points. Have a tough matchup in the SEC against Florida. But it'd be interesting to see what that looks like in the tournament. Can somehow Howard get it done and overtake FAMU? It'll be interesting to see. Besides the top 5 ranking, what are the gentlemen's thoughts on that? I'll start with you, Charles. What are your thoughts in terms of the top 5?
What was the final tally? East versus West, 7-6?
7-6. 7-6.
I guess the question. Well, first and foremost, kudos and congratulations to Florida A&M for winning the SWAC softball title. Kudos to Howard as well. I wanted to pivot and ask this question in regards to the tournament itself, in terms of who do you think, sort of the balance of power has shifted, or has the balance of power shifted, in that we have 3 teams from the West Division that are in the top 5, with one team in terms of Florida A&M sitting at number 1. But has the balance of power shifted from a softball perspective?
I think it's at the very least closed the gap. I think it's hard to say that it's officially shifted when the number 1 team comes out of the East and took it to all the teams essentially from the West, beat Texas Southern and Southern, beat Southern twice. So I think that's a hard matchup there. Then you have Jackson State beating Prairie View also. But I think it's really close. Indication 7-6. You saw Texas Southern go deep into the tournament, taking out several East teams. You had Southern took out several of the East teams other than FAMU. But other East teams made some statements. Like I said, Jackson State over Prairie View was a big one to make a statement. I think it's really close, 50-50. 7-6 tells you. So at the very least, I think the gap has closed, at least for 2026.
Yeah.
I think this is something that we will look at each year to see if this is a one-year anomaly, or has the West really caught up with the East in terms of talent. I think Southern's raising their game in terms of what they did. It was, for the longest, it was Prairie View and Texas Southern. I think there was a major gap between Prairie View and Texas Southern. I think there was a pretty big gap between those teams and the East. With Southern getting in the mix, having a huge ascension, young coach, showing that they're going to be there for a while, like FAMU. I think that's going to be big. And the other thing that I think you'd have to worry a little bit if you're the West is the deepness of the East. I think Alabama State is solid, and I think they're going to be right there in the mix. I think she has a couple of things. What she did at FAMU to kind of start that. Obviously, the current coach don't want to take anything away. She finished it in fine fashion. But I think the East is a little deeper. Can Pine Bluff take that next step? Grambling, I think, is going to be looking for a coach. Do you get hit it on the head? Do they make the next step with their head coach and create the depth needed in the West to match the East? But tournament-wise, I think they're pretty much even. I think there's a little more, I would say, with the East than the West.
Interesting.
With that, let me go to you, AD Drew. One, you can opine on that yourself and say if you agree with that. And then if not, you can get right into the poll rankings, or you can do both.
Charles, the power cannot shift until the West wins. So, consider.
I mean, they got 3 teams in the top 5, so it made me ask a question.
But who's at the top? It's the East team.
10-4.
And when you look at just the tournament, your last 3 champions have come from the East. I mean, it's been since 2023 since a West team, Prairie View, won, which was the second of their back-to-back. But 4 of the 6 tournaments since the pandemic have gone to the East. So, let's until the West wins again, it may tilt West, but you can't say a shift until the West wins. And also, I think there was more parity in the East when you look at the teams, because those top 4 teams beat up on each other in the East, versus you saw the West was very top heavy, and then you had everybody else. And let's be real, Arkansas Pine Bluff in any other format does not make the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I agree
with their record. So the 4 teams in the East were balanced, with FAMU slightly ahead of them going into the season. But 2, 3, and 4 was 2 and 3 were tied, and 4 was one game behind them. So parity versus top heavy. But getting to this poll, Dr. Cavil, I gotta move Texas. I gotta flip flop Texas Southern and Prairie View. 2 reasons. Texas Southern has that magic number. Without going behind the number and seeing who they beat, it still looks good on paper with that 30.
30 wins.
Number one. That's that magic number in baseball and softball, like I said in the previous.
I like that. That's
Number 2, Texas Southern made it to the semifinals.
True.
No, to the quarterfinals, because they lost to Southern. But they made it to the quarterfinals, losing to FAMU, and then drop it down to the elimination bracket to face Southern in the semifinals. Point number 2. And number 3, Dr. Cavil. You cannot have the Kingsford All-American Team of the Year for Division I sitting ahead of a team that advanced further than them in the tournament, Dr. Cavil. And Kingsford is not a sponsor, but they were the Chua Barbecue team.
Chua Barbecue, baby.
Yeah, they did the Kingsford Charcoal Team of the Year in softball. So
I think you make excellent points, and I think Charles.
Hey, you just gonna appropriate my Kingsford?
Oh, I loved it. I took it and ran with it, bro.
Yeah, no doubt. Good one. Both of y'all bringing it to the table. And I think Charles alluded to this, saying, hey, it's 3 teams in the West. I think there is a point that I don't think you can get so caught up in the tournament that you don't give a team credit for winning a division over a division. As Brian would like to say, in terms of the rankings, the top 3 teams were ranked higher than the teams ranked in the East.
Yeah.
And I certainly agree that the East is deeper in terms of 4 solid teams. But after that, much like the West, it falls off. I mean, you got A&M at 6-18, and you literally have Mississippi Valley at 0-24.
Yeah.
So even in all 8 teams, the last 8 seed is still Pine Bluff. They get in, not to try to say they have anything to shout out, which I think is overall point, but I did want to make sure the listeners had a little more clarity in terms of what that looks like.
And Pine Bluff played good in the tournament.
Exactly. Now, what are your thoughts so it sounds like you have no question with FAMU and Howard, even though you have those early matchups with Howard and FAMU.
I was debating that, Dr. Cavil, because number one, Howard did beat FAMU, what was that, back in February, if I remember correctly?
Yep.
When they played each other. Howard did run rule everybody in their tournament. FAMU was forced into an if game in their tournament. So there is an argument for putting Howard above Florida A&M. But Dr. Cavil, once again, it's something about that 30 that on the surface gives FAMU that advantage over Howard. As far as just on the surface, without if you dive into the numbers.
You're making an excellent point. I did want to give this to the viewers because they don't always go back in those details, but I like to show how much folks that vote that are really paying attention to it. Look at this. As you pointed out, FAMU did have the loss to Howard, which was the first matchup, and they lost 6-4, close game. So they're right there.
Yeah.
But FAMU came back on the next day and won the matchup where they won 12-10. Another 2-run game.
So they
really
split.
close. So they split.
Okay.
The thing is, if you're looking at the West, you have a Southern win over Howard, 8-5.
That's big.
And you have a Texas Southern loss to Howard, 7-4. Throw out the Alabama A&M 10-run rule, everybody beat Alabama A&M. So it's really, really close. But I think, obviously, as you talked about the East Division being deeper in terms of quality teams, I think you can argue that the top 4 in the East is better than the top 4 in the West, also better than the top 4 in the MEAC. So if you even look at it like that, I think it's fair to go with FAMU, even though it's close and you see that with the first place vote. So excellent race. Would love to see a matchup between those two teams again at the end of the season somehow, but obviously more importantly, they go into the NCAA tournament. So shout out to the women and get it done. With that, let's take our last break. Come back on the other side. We'll talk a little bit about baseball, some key matchups. This is last weekend. I'll give you the early matchups in terms of the seeding, what that looks like. It'll be fascinating. Remember last week we had what would have been an all-East division matchup or bracket in the all-West bracket. Yeah, that's gone. So we'll see if it fixes itself next week at the end of this week.
What happens to our postponed games? What happens to our postponed games?
I don't see them being made up. There's just not enough.
Everybody's got the minimum.
So you're going to, they got the 80% minimum. Yeah. So it's going to go down to percentage, which means the magic number for Bethune-Cookman is 2. They got a tough one. The benefit is at home, but they have Grambling. It's going to be fascinating. And Southern is right in the mix. They need a little bit of help. They got to win themselves. They need some help. That's for some Grambling State, obviously, love to help them, which is an intriguing thing for Southern to find a way to be rooting for Grambling in the matchup. We'll see what that looks like. We'll be right back on the other side and go a little more detail and see what these gentlemen think about some of these matchups. What do they think the top 8 will look like? Let's take our last break and come back on the other side and discuss it.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavil of Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app. As we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
When it comes to professional learning, teachers deserve better. From the leader in online learning, Stride brings you the Stride Professional Development Center, an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that gives teachers choice and flexibility, allowing them to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. It's time you take charge of your learning. Visit us today to get started.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
I'm Cameron Peters, quarterback of the Prairie View A&M 2025-2026 SWAC Football Championship team.
Here on 2nd and goal, Peters looking for some space and he runs into the end zone. The first score of the game goes to the Panthers.
As the offensive MVP and champion, when I'm not busy studying or practicing or spending time with my family and friends, I catch up on my sports highlights by watching Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab.
Horn, pump fake, steps into the two-point jump shot. That is fundamental.
Yeah, you got to stay on your feet on him.
Looking for some space and he runs into the end zone. The first score of the game.
Two teams that were not picked to win their respective conferences.
Prairie View produces productive people. Prairie View, where champions are built. Not like me. PV, you know.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
He's in with the first score of the game, Charles. SWAC Championship game. I like that. We needed that. Charles, a little bit of controversy over in this outdoor championship. Kelvin asked the question, hey, Mo, what's the women's 4x100 protest about? Mo is making the call. Shout out to Mo Carter. They are talking behind me with the production crew, but it's hard for me to tell exactly. He did get an update. He said that UAPB's coach was protesting twice that FAMU caused his girl to drop a baton. He was saying it was FAMU, or Mo was saying it was inadvertent, at least to the eyes of the official. So, with that being said and out of the way, 18 of 21 events now finished. You have Southern still in third, 87.5, with projected to get to 90.5. You have FAMU still in second, but the lead has narrowed. They're at 111.5. Again, still projected to get 149.5. And Alabama State was there at 114. It has just changed. We have an update, 19 of 21 events. Southern still in third at 93.5. They hit their projection. So they would have to do something in their last two races outside of that. Alabama State has now fallen to second. They're at 118. They're only projected to get to 126. FAMU, with the results in by that 4x1, have hit 134.5, and they're expected to get to 150.5. So unless something really falls out,
as long as you don't come down to the 4x4.
Yeah, they have nailed it. Now, FAMU men's have overtaken Bethune-Cookman. This 18 of 21 events. They are now in third position. So FAMU men's have decided to get in the track and field business. They're at 82 points. They're projected to get to 89. Number 2, Texas Southern, still holding steady. They're at 95 points. They're projected to get to 101. Jackson State is running away with it at 118. And they're projected to get to 145. So
impressive.
Wanted to give you that update. Now, this is where you get the rankings. Let me go from the bottom to the top. Jackson State currently sits in the 8th slot at 14 and 13. And let me get through this and I'll go right to you.
Okay.
JD. In the 7th position is Pine Bluff at 15 and 12. Texas Southern at 15 and 9. They did not have 3-game series with Southern. You see that leaves a gap there. And then you get into 2 teams that are tied. Grambling and Alabama State sitting at 17 and 10. If you go back, Grambling won 2 of 3 in the head-to-head matchup. So they would slide actually to the 4th. While Alabama State would be in the 5th. They would match up in the first round 4-5, though. You have FAMU in the 3rd position at 19 and 8. Southern currently in 2nd. Again, they did not have that 3-game series, which looms large. 17 and 7. With Bethune-Cookman at 21 and 6. 1 loss behind 778, 7708. If you play it out, FAMU Southern wins their games. Bethune-Cookman can only get 1 victory. Southern would end up winning the championship. Bethune-Cookman gets 2. It doesn't matter what Southern does. They close the door. FAMU has an outside shot. They need quite a bit of help, but they're in the mix. So right now you would have a 1 versus 8 Jackson State. You have a 2 versus 7 Arkansas Pine Bluff. So you still got your division matchups. But then it switches on you because you have 3 versus 6, FAMU and Texas Southern. and you have the 4 versus 5. As I told you, Grambling has the head-to-head tiebreaker, winning 2 out of 3, so they would be the 4th seed, while Alabama State would be the 5 seed. Again, you would have your East-West matchups on those 2 games. 80, go ahead and jump in here.
And I'm gonna say my other point after we do this, because I want to talk about the NAIA, since we're gonna do a quick thing on baseball.
Sure.
But what's interesting is a couple of these head-to-head matchups this weekend, Dr. Cavil.
Yes.
FAMU, Texas Southern.
FAMU, Texas Southern.
Yep.
That's right.
All right. Put the standings back up there, please. FAMU has to take at least 2 out of 3 against Texas Southern. Obviously, they want to sweep. If Texas Southern were to sweep FAMU, Texas Southern would finish ahead of FAMU.
In good point.
Based on
yep.
Although they would have one less win because of percentages, they would finish ahead of FAMU. And at the bottom, Dr.
They have 2 less losses, which brings the percentage in there.
Right, because they will only play 27 games versus FAMU played their full 30.
That's right.
And at the bottom, Dr. Cavil, another intriguing race as Pine Bluff and Jackson State go head up this weekend. Those 2 will be facing each other, and the winner of that series,
that's right,
gets the pleasure of not facing Bethune-Cookman and not being in the Bethune-Cookman.
Yeah, that's huge. Good call. Yeah,
exactly.
So 2 intriguing head-to-head matchups involving teams. We already know who's in, but
that's
2
right.
intriguing matchups as far as jockeying for positions this particular weekend, Dr. Cavil. Yes, FAMU has an outside chance of catching both Southern and Bethune-Cookman. It's more realistic to catch Southern, except put that back up there on the schedule. Who Southern has? Nah, FAMU won't catch Southern.
Nah. Nah. Nah.
Yeah, nice try.
Nah, it was a good thought.
To the
I saw where you were going.
I knew who they had. But here's the thing, though. Southern, because of who Bethune-Cookman's opponent is, could overtake Southern, because let's be realistic, we're expected to sweep out of Southern.
Correct.
And depending on what happens in this Grambling-Bethune series, once again, another one of those matchups, it could flip-flop. So those teams who are fighting to avoid Bethune, if Grambling handles their business, could still face Bethune.
Right. I'm mad at that, because they wouldn't have gotten a number 1 regular season championship. That's a good point. Go back to the standings. I'm gonna go off this one and let me do the pleasure of this. I think also, though, you have Mississippi Valley at Prairie. Mississippi started the season off strong, fell off late. You have Prairie View coming on strong, schedule-wise, allowed it. But in terms of some momentum for next year, this last series is interesting for me. You know, if you can get 2 out of 3, you essentially finish at the top of the bottom, and you do it against the next closest team. So I think there's a lot of play for in that matchup to try to finish off. I don't know if you want to say finish off strong, but you certainly would want to get the series win, and it gives you a little something to go into the recruiting season, because you need it in terms of what you're going to do next year. So in this odd way, that's an intriguing matchup to me. All right, go back to those matchups. Any final thoughts? I think y'all really laid it out well. Alabama State Alcorn shouldn't be a problem.
Chalk 3 for the Hornets,
right?
Yeah.
We said Southern A&M shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
We've been talking about that Texas Southern FAMU. We call that right. We call that about midway through the season based on how the teams were playing.
Yeah.
We thought it may have been for first, but it's still big in terms of the standings. Huge matchup. I did do my homework, AD Drew.
Uh-oh.
From Sunday, you said do your homework. That's one thing Dr. Cavil does. You tell me to go do the research. I find out. Texas Southern will stay the night in Tallahassee on Sunday and go to Birmingham. Also, I found out Grambling will stay in Daytona. I got bonus work, so I want my extra A+ on this. Daytona Grambling will stay in Daytona for a night, and they will head over to Birmingham
on Sunday.
And so will Bethune-Cookman. They'll get out of there that day and head over too. So those are the ones. I didn't get information on Pine Bluff. I hadn't been able to find that. I think this is a short trip. They might decide to go back, but hadn't got any information there. So still, maybe on Thursday, I'll get a little clarity on what that one is. But the main one you asked about, I got that, and I gave you a bonus one. So I want my A+ and let you know why the doc is the doc, the dean.
Yeah. One thing everybody needs to remember with this weekend, the games are Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, everybody. It says about traditional Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to allow those teams the extra rest and the day to travel to Birmingham. So keep that in mind. So maybe by the time we come back on the show Thursday, we may have some of these results and can really start.
Yeah, we have some early indication which things are shaking and moving.
Yeah.
We certainly will talk about that to give you a little indication and see if somebody's going to tighten up a little bit or is somebody feeling good, at least getting their first game out of the bucket and got a little room maneuver. We'll see what that means. But, yeah, this is what you want to your last weekend in terms of some key matchups in terms of what's going down the stretch. So I'm fascinated about this. Thursday, we'll talk a little bit more in terms of some indication of what you think is going to happen in the tournament, who's hot, who's not right now. And, again, we'll have one additional last game under the belt maybe to talk about why we feel the team is hot or not. Last thing we'll say here, good show. Great to have everybody here. Thanks for the lab listeners. Thank you for listening inside the HBCU Sports Lab.
Before you
go, you wanted to give an NAIA
quick update. NAIA Baseball tournament has opened up. Houston Tillotson went to a barbecue in the tournament. I just lost my spot. Wait a minute. All right. They were in the Shreveport, Louisiana region. They lost on yesterday. They lost 8-0 to Oklahoma Wesleyan. And today they lost 9-0 to Loyola of Louisiana. So Houston Tillotson is done. And on the other team that we have is in the Lawrenceville region, Talladega. They defeated Northwestern of Ohio by a score of 12-2.
Doing what they do
yesterday, but in game one, but that's a 5-team region, so they had, with them being the number 5 seed, they had to come back and play a doubleheader yesterday and come back and play the number 1 seed. They lost to Georgia Gwinnett by a score of 11-1 in they were run rule 11-1 in 7 innings. And currently, right now, they are in an elimination game. The score is 4-0. They are facing Northwestern of Ohio, and it's in the top of the third. Talladega is the home team in this particular matchup. And one last thing,
they're leading 4-0.
No, they're trailing 4-0. They're trailing 4-0, top of the third. And I just got to say this: I love Talladega and Bethune-Cookman when they wear their powder blues.
They look like the old Phillies.
Yes, I love those throwbacks to the powder blues and everything. Now Talladega, that's actually in their color scheme.
Right.
Bethune-Cookman just decided to get powder blue uniforms. So, but I love the powder blue uniforms.
And it matches with that maroon. And you're right, for Talladega, it goes well with them.
It's their colors, yeah.
Yep, good stuff. Last update in terms of track field, both of them at 19 and 21 events. Teams are still there. Points, let me give you those. Number 3, Southern, 93.5. Again, they're at their projection, 93.5. Number 2 is Alabama State, 118, projected to get to 126. FAMU is at 134.5, projected to get to 150.5. And then on the men's side, 3 spot is FAMU, 86, projected to get to 89. Texas Southern is 2 spot, 103, projected to get to 109. And the one spot is Jackson State at 123, projected to get 42. Again, that's 19 of 21 events. So things are getting close to falling out there. FAMU, on both sides, looking really good in terms of what they're doing. With that being said, again, thank you for listening to Dr. Ville's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Watch and Charles Bishop. Again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Ville's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Watch and Charles Bishop every Tuesday and Thursday. We'll be back on Thursday as it starts to get interesting. Some key games. Make sure you check them out. Let's see what's on SWAC TV as well in terms of those matchups. That should be a fascinating discussion as well. Early games are Valley at Prairie View. Texas Southern at FAMU is on SWAC TV. Pine Bluff at Jackson State is on SWAC TV. Grambling at Bethune-Cookman on SWAC TV. So those matchups we told you about, you can tune in to SWAC TV and see them for yourself, and we'll give you a little insight based on what we watch. Again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Ville's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, 80 Drew, every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. Shout out to Raymond behind and pushing the buttons. 80 Drew said he can get used to that, so we appreciate your work and continue to deliver. We look forward to next week as we discuss the latest news in the lab. I should say Thursday. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, as Threads, Facebook, and Instagram. DrKenyattaCavil. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Facebook. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on YouTube. Dream big. Continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Charles.
Of course.
AD.
Lecture.
Dismiss.